What I've got here is 3 pieces of 4mm veg tan and 1 piece of 3mm, and this is to represent a hefty scabbard. Some of the people might have seen the pictures of my camp tool. So I'm going to give you an idea of how to stitch together. There's no quick way. You can't go through 4 layers of leather this thick, and just to give you an idea, this is actually 3/4 of an inch thick. So you're not going to do that in one hit, you're not going to do it with an awl. I do know that there are some people out there that will drill it. Drilling is fine if you're after a utilitarian look, it will work, and if you use a particularly heavy thread to go through the round holes, you will get some sort of semblance of neatness out of it, but in the grand scheme of things, a round hole will not govern your stitches. I'm going to use a shortcut. I've got a shortcut, and I'm going to use a pricking iron. A stitch wheel, if you don't have a pricking iron, just to take these aside, you can use a stitch wheel, absolutely no problem. It's a lengthier process. You run down where you want your stitches to be, and then quite simply each and every hole you will go through with your awl, and so on. For your second layer, and I'm just going to have to create a second layer, you would put that beneath your leather and either glue it or hold it in place, and then mark your second set of holes, at which point your third layer would then be placed underneath your face layer, using it as the same template, so the holes are in the same place for each and every layer. Again, mark your holes with the awl. It's a lengthy process, but there are no shortcuts with multiple layer leather. You've got to take your time, otherwise it's just simply not going to look right. We're going to run a line down. We're going to use this as our face piece. A little too large there. Run a line down for our face piece, so we've got something for our pricking iron to follow. We'll place the pricking iron onto the leather, and I'm using an old chopping board from the kitchen. I don't necessarily want to mark the wood up, so I'm protecting it using this old chopping board, and give that a smack. And there we have a row of holes. What we'll do now is we'll put our face onto our second piece, and the second piece is likely to be a gusset or a welt, depending on the article that you're making, and mark that up. We'll then do our third piece, using the same face piece for each layer every time, and we know our holes are going to go through. And then our last piece is obviously facing the other way, so we'll use our face piece on that the other way round. And now all of our layers are marked up. Line them up with a needle, and as soon as I find one I shall do that. So first hole of the face, first hole of the second, first hole of the third, and first hole of the fourth. And now we know all 4 layers are lined up. We can place it into the pony, ready for stitching. We're ready to stitch our 4 layers together, and you can see how thick this is. I'm going to use a soft edged awl. This one is not sharp. I've already made the holes with the pricking iron. I don't need a sharp awl. All I want to do is open up the leather. I'm not going to put the needle in from the back. All the layers are going to be pointing the same way. I'm going to use that to my advantage. So I'm going to go into the first hole with the awl, open that up, ready for centering my thread, and that goes through a dream. Center the thread, and then it's straight on to the stitching. Make the hole, and we're away. It's as simple as that. So the secret is not a drill, it's not brute force, it's preparing the holes in each leather prior to stitching, or prior to stitching. Prying is something completely different. Prying is something you should avoid. A life lesson, as well as saddlery. I've got sticky fingers, the needle won't let go. There we are. And let's have a look at the back. Three quarters of an inch of leather. How's that?